But most people just be like, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. I'm out. I'm done. And how do you expect to live, to have a marriage for 20, 30 plus years when the first one or two mistakes, you're ready to bounce? So I do understand when they said about a prenup, you know, a wedding, it more benefits the woman. Also, if you see the average wedding, it's always surrounding the bride. It's not really surrounding the groom. It's always the bride, the bride, the bride, the bride, the bride. And I made it very clear to my partner that if we got married, if we got married, I don't really care for a wedding. I am okay with you and I taking a trip to Bali or taking a trip somewhere. We can go to my pastor and say, can you marry us in your office? And then have our bags packed in the car and go hop a flight to somewhere amazing and have a amazing honeymoon vacation. I'm gonna pay all this money for a dress I'm gonna wear for not even a full day. Everybody comes to your wedding. More people will come to the reception than the wedding, because the reception is like, oh, well, we got free food, we got free alcohol, we can dance, we can party, and I ain't got to worry about paying anything. So, yeah, I'm like, I don't need a wedding. I am okay, because it's like, is it for me and you, or is it for everyone else around us? But when they told me like their opinion about marriage, they were like, you know, coming up under, you know, God and making a solemn like promise to and commitment to each other under God. He was like, that's what marriage is to me. And I was like, that's what I've been saying the entire time. I think that when I bring up getting married, they think about a wedding, and I'm like, I don't care about a damn wedding. I know a lot of people who have been like almost spending on this wedding, and then you in debt, or you didn't spend all this money on a wedding, and you got all these collections and debt piling up, but you can spend $20,000-$30,000 on a wedding. But you can also put that same money you came up to spend on this wedding for one day, not even a full day. You could have just applied all that money to these bills and been debt free, and then having a party later on. My priority is not a wedding. My priority is making a promise, a commitment to the person that I love and the person I chose to be with, between me and you and God. Because at the end of the day, that's all I want in my business is me, him, and God. I don't want my family my business. I don't want his family my business, our business. It should be me, you, and God. And if we need to get a therapist. So I don't worry about a wedding part. I don't worry about that because it's not important to me. That the longevity of a marriage is what's important to me. So then like back to getting married, I'm like, is marriage really a big deal? Some people will say it's a big deal, you know, again, outside of the commitment you make to your partner, that pure commitment, you know, with God involved with it. Outside of that, I feel like, what is really marriage? Because people are so quick to get married, and then you don't know that person. You don't know that person you're with. And if you're going to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you should take your time to get to know this person before you are committed to them, tied to them, all those things. When I get married, I want to make sure that before we run to get a divorce, before divorce comes up in the sentence or a conversation, we have explored every single option, resources available. If one counselor doesn't work, let's go to another one. If this doesn't work, let's try this right here again. Like I said in the beginning of this message, I feel that I feel that you have a destination. There's many different roads to take to get to that destination. It may take you longer, it may take you less time, but you still get to that destination because it's meant for you to be. It's meant for you. And that destination is what God has chosen for you to take and for you to be at. No matter how many slip ups you're going to take or make, you're going to get there eventually. Because none of us know like how far we are from our destination. I may say that my end goal is to have a 5-bedroom house, 3-bedroom, 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 3-car garage, and a she shed in the back. That could be my end goal. Like once I get this, I'm good. I love this. God's plan may be like, you don't like to mow not one damn lawn, grass in the lawn. You don't like to plant not one damn flower. If a pipe bursts or something needs to be repaired, you're not gonna fix it. God's plan could be like, Ashley, I'm gonna give you a townhouse that you can rent and have all the space that you want, but I'm going to make sure that what you need to be taken care of is taken care of, because I know that you are not going to, this is not for you to like do the repairs. Could be. It could be that I end up in an apartment because I know that if I don't have kids by a certain age, I want to be able to travel. Like if I don't have kids in the future, I want to be able to live a life where, you know what, I want to take me a long vacation and I'm going to travel Europe. I don't want to worry about a house. If I could be like, you know what, my lease ends in a year. Okay, Ashley, so my lease ends in a year, so I know that I want to travel somewhere. I may not want to be here. Let me just say, maybe I want to move and live out of the country for a little bit. My lease ends this right here, so I got this amount of time right here to get myself together to move. I may not want to sit still and be here, be in Houston. I may want to go to Dallas. I may want to go to Arizona. I may want to go to Seattle. I may want to go to Atlanta. I may want to go to Canada. I may want to go to Africa. I may want to go to Paris, because I don't need to sit, so it could be that any path that you're taking is going to get you to a destination that you're destined to be. So that's all I'm saying. Like, if before I even breathe a word of divorce, I'm gonna be like, have we explored every single option? Because divorce needs to be the absolute last option, and that means like we have exhausted everything. We have seen every specialist, every counselor, every gone to every type of retreat. We have done every single thing that we could to fix it, and it's not working. And we'll say it's time for us, like, okay, now we can go. And I think that's a lot of people don't do that, and I don't think people get so wrapped up in the love and then the excitement of a wedding that they don't think about all the things that comes afterwards. I watch a lot of Country Wayne. Well, I used to watch a lot of Country Wayne's videos. And in this video, one of the things is that this new couple had just got married. And child, there's a whole backstory to that one. But they rushed so quickly into getting married. She was blinded by the fact that he had a lot of money, he was charming, and then she was messing around still with her ex up until the morning of her wedding. And her fiance was still in love with his ex, but he was marrying her because his ex didn't want him. Well, so they both entered, and then they had lies, like she was running up all his money. He made a bad investment, and he lost over $1 million. He lost a lot of money, and he didn't want to tell her that he lost a lot of money because he thought that she wasn't going to be with him because of that. So he suffered in silence. And he confided in his ex, who was actually one of his business partners, about the money issue. And she was helping him financially, while his fiance was running up the money, running up the tab on his wedding, thinking that everything was good and gravy. Well, so, it was very stressful on him. And because his ex was the person who he confided in, when she got married a few months after their wedding, he stood up at her wedding saying that he loved her and he wanted to be with her and all these things, yada yada yada. Well, whatever. So let's fast forward to where he didn't come home. She's distraught, and then the pastor who married them came to the wife's house to counsel her. And he says, when you said your vows, you said for better and for worse. He said, well, welcome to worse. I get it now, because I feel like people get so wrapped up in the wedding and the dress and the food, the excitement of changing your last name. It's all exciting, I get it. But I don't think people really think about the aftermath of after you say I do. When you strip off these clothes and go back to your regular self before you got married, before these fancy clothes and perfume, all these things happen. You're still got to go through life. You still got to go through things. And he said, and I get it, he was like, they tell you for better or for worse, but they don't tell you what worse is. They don't tell you how much worse it's going to be, what you got to get through. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you when it's going to happen. They don't tell you how long it's going to happen. They don't tell you how often it's going to happen. You may have, for worse, right the day after your wedding, and then you have to go through that, and you come out of it, and it may be like a little peaceful time, but then you never know, it can go right into another for worse. You just don't know. It's not always gonna be sunshines and rainbows and butterflies. It's gonna be full of daisies. And I get it now, because people are so quick to quit and walk out and not put the work in and then go on to somebody else. And I'm like, when you make a commitment to this person and to God, have you exhausted, unless this person's putting their hands on you and beating you, or it's like, really, are you trying to bring harm to you? There's certain things that, of course, get the fuck out. But there's this times like where it's like Michelle Obama, I love her, she said that people go through that lovey-dovey phase, and then when it's like you enter that season like where it's like, oh, it's okay, it's not there, the love is still there, but that lovey-dovey, all up under you type affection is not there right now. You're like, oh, I don't like this, I want to go. You don't give it a chance for it to happen again, because it could just be a season you're in. But it's like they just want to go. She was like, there's been plenty of times where I didn't like my husband. There's plenty of times where I do not like my partner. There's plenty of times he does not like me. And I asked him before, I said, why do you stay? And he said, because I want to be here. And I noticed at that moment, I was like, no matter what we are going to go through, we're going to be okay. Because one, we got a friendship, we got a foundation. Two, this is like the one man, he's somebody I trust. And I've gone through things, and I've talked to him about it, and he's been there when I've gone through things, and most of my secrets, my trauma experiences, he knows about. So, I definitely think that whatever we're going to go through, we're going to come out together. As long as we remain respectful of each other's feelings, and communicate and create a safe space for us, we're going to be okay. And I appreciate that, because a lot of people don't have that with their partner. A lot of people have to go out to a third person or to a family member or to something like that to talk about what they're going through. And then at the same time, you're end up getting the wrong advice, because when you reach out to your family for something, your family most likely is going to give you advice to benefit you, not benefit you and that person. Second thing is that their advice is going to be from their experience, from what they gone through and their personalities with their partner. So your partner and you may not have the same exact things that me and my partner are going through, what we experience. Our personalities may be different too. So what worked for you and this person may not work for me. I will say, I have a cousin who's been married for a very long time, and I do consider this person as a confidant and as a mentor. Do I put my certain people in my life at a pedestal? Yes, I do. And I need to bring it down, because I'm like, they're still human, so they still make mistakes. She is one of them. I put her. I've always wanted to be like her for some reason. But I love her. She seems like she's really peaceful, and she focuses on her family. But you don't know what somebody's going through behind closed doors, so you can only judge and go off of what they see on the outside. And so I stopped going to, because I'm like, I feel like, yes, the advice you give me is a sound advice, but I still have to know how to apply my resources to my relationship. It's going to affect us both, because it's not just me in this relationship. It's not just him. I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. But back to the marriage thing, I feel like when you say for better, for worse, okay, so you don't know how much worse is. I seen videos where, what was it? Excuse me, I had this tea. I seen videos where, you get married, and then the wife finds out she can't have children, or an accident happens, something happens where she can't have children, and the man is disappointed, and then he leaves her because she can't give him his own son, or his own, like his daughter or son or child. He can't have his own child, and he feels like his legacy is going to die with him, because he can't pass on to somebody else. Well, my thing was, instead of leaving her for this, have you guys seen a specialist? Maybe it's something that could be reversible. Maybe it's just something as far as fibroids. It could be something that could be reversible, like something that needs to be removed. Have you tried IVF? Have you tried what's it called? What's what we call it? A surrogate. Have you tried that? Have you tried there's other resources, adoption? Have you tried that? But because you couldn't get your wife to get pregnant, you leave her. But what happened to that for better, for worse? In sickness and in health. Because I will say this, me and my stepdad, we have this very odd relationship. And a lot of times I was angry with him when it came to my mother. I was angry. Do I still deal with anger with that? Yes, but it's something that I gotta deal with, because it's me, it's my anger. I can't put my anger on him, because I put my expectations on him. I can't do that. But in sickness and in health. So my mom and my stepdad got married in 2012. A month after their wedding, my dad had to go to a specialist, and he had to get screened for cancer because they thought he had cancer. And turns out a few months later that he did have cancer. He had and he had to go through radiation. And I watched my mother stay with him. Sure, I know there were things that they could do, whatever, you know. I know like at one point they couldn't like sleep next to each other for like at a certain closeness, I guess, proximity, because of the radiation. It was would affect my mother. I remember when my mom got sick, and because of her knees, she had to be like flipped side to side so that she could take pressure off her knees, because she couldn't turn on her own. We had to like, you know, turn her for her and readjust her in bed. And there was a long period where my mom and my dad couldn't sleep in the same bed because she needed the entire bed to get comfortable. And you know, when my dad would be a wild sleeper, he would like hit her knee or hit her leg, and it was like, you know, on accident. But when it happened, she was in a lot of pain and she couldn't sleep. And so he ended up started sleeping out, you know, would sleep on the couch or sleep on the air bed or something like that. Or then, you know, it was just a lot. And I remember these things. But, you know, through sickness and health, you never know what could happen to your partner. There's people who feel like with sex, if their partner isn't giving them sex, they want to leave. Well, my thing is, well, let's talk about the sex part. Is it about, is it something health-wise that they can't have sex? Like, it could be ED. There's medications for it, but do they always work? It could be that the woman is going through menopause, and you know, when women go through certain things, you know, she's just not in the mood for it. She doesn't have a drive. But in sickness and in health. And then it's like, okay, well, if you can't get these certain things taken care of, have y'all discussed other options to make up for that person who is not getting their needs met? Have you talked about other options? Because you still got to think about that other person. They still matter. They have needs. They still matter. It can't just be like, oh, well, I'm not in the mood for sex, so you can't have sex, or you can't get none. You gonna go without? No, because they still need to get theirs. What's another option? What can we do? You know, what you gonna do? Like, are you gonna get some medication to put you in the mood or something, or are y'all gonna try to find a different way for intimacy? What are y'all doing? You know, have y'all exhausted all the other options together? You know, because you can't be a man and say, or a woman and say, you know, well, I'm not getting sex with my partner, so I'm gonna go out and go lay with somebody else, and then you open a whole new can of worms for your relationship, health wise, emotionally, because you don't know what the kind of crazy person it is you about to lay down with. You know, so that's what I'm just saying. Like, when it comes to things like that for a marriage, it's to a point like where, do I want to get married to my partner? Yes, I do. I feel like I said, I'm okay with us, because my thing is right now, what's important to me is that we're making a promise to each other under God. That's what my only thing that I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about a wedding dress. I'm not concerned about who's walking down the aisle, where to have it. Do I get those ideas? Yes, because I know that he may want a wedding because he still is a part of it. So, yeah, I think about that. You know, if he said, Ashley, right now, I want to marry you, but we don't have the money for a wedding, or we can use the money for something else, I am absolutely okay with that. I am okay with that. Like, look, babe, we ain't gotta dress up. We can go get what's in our closet, go to the church, pass. You know, can we give you a love token, or, you know, a fee? Can you marry us in the office? We just want to get married. I am okay with that. And then like 5 or 10 years later, I'm like, you know what? For a celebration, let's do an actual wedding, or let's have a bigger party. I'm saying that we can get married down here in Houston and then fly home for a party with the family. We can do that. I'm okay with that. I'm no longer worried about who's going to get offended by what, because I didn't invite them to a wedding. Because it's not about you. It's about the person that I want to be with and the person that I am choosing to spend the rest of my life with. Because just how you showed up for my wedding, if me and him needed counseling, are you going to be the same person to sit with us both and encourage us to work it out and stick through it or find resources to help? Are you going to stick by us? Are you going to support us? Not just him or just me. Are you going to support us? And people don't do that because, like, oh, that's my cousin, that's my sister, that's my brother. But you become one. So, y'all, that's the thing that I realizing when it comes to that, because most people don't think about that. And like I said, right now, outside of the whole making a legal or I hate the gap, making a legal contract or a legal agreement up under God, saying that I'm going to be with this man, I'm going to be with this man the rest of my life, and I'm going to commit to us and commit to him and submit to him. Outside of all of that right there, everything we're doing is married. We share expenses. I know just about everything about my partner, vice versa. I feel like, back to that couple who, like I said, when that couple that on Country Lane skit, where he couldn't confide in his woman, he confided in his ex about his financial situation and stress, and he was going to another woman for that support that actually made him fall deeper in love with her, in order for him to stand up at that wedding to say, I still love you, while your wife is sitting next to you. That should never have happened. You should, when you propose to a woman, you're saying, I'm going to marry you. So I mean, we are in this together. So you should be going to your wife and saying, babe, I made a bad investment, and I can't afford this wedding right now. So we can either push the wedding date back to where we can, get out this hole and do it, or we're going to dial it down a little to where I can afford this $250,000 wedding. You should go to your wife, your woman that you propose to say, I need help. This is what's going on. And a lot of people don't do that with their partner. And I would say this, if you have a partner where you are in a financial situation and you can't go to your partner about what's going on, then you need to reconsider who you're with. Because how can you say, I'm going to be with this person in my life and commit to this person, and then say, for better, for worse, but you're poor, but then you can't go to that person for that support, that help. What kind of marriage is that? That's why I'm like, I don't want there to be, I would wish for a wedding, excuse me, I got on that wedding part. I wish for a relationship where my partner and I, if we're going through something, we can say, babe, I need help. Babe, I made this decision. Because now, you don't got to run every single day through it to your partner. I would say certain things you should, like if it's like finances, like taking out a loan, or maybe doing something that could affect you, that could affect your household, that could negatively impact your household. Certain things I would say you need to talk to your partner, not run things by them, but it's like, hey, I did this. Some things you should run through them. Like I said, I have made some choices where I acted off an impulse and I made a decision, but I did my best to fix it. And then when I couldn't fix it, I'm like, all right, babe, I did this. I tried to fix it. This is what I did, and didn't work. Do you have any options for me? But I feel like when you with somebody, you should be able to talk to them. If you sleep with somebody, living in their house, like I said, sharing bodily fluids, whether you kissing, sexing, whatever, you should be able to go to that should be the number one person, but after God, to go to and say, I need help. This is going on. Whether it's mental, physical, health-wise, you should be able to go to that person and say something. And if you can't do that with your partner, you need to reconsider who you're with. Now, in defense with that one, I would say, like I said, I've made some decisions, and there should be some things that I should have talked to my partner about before I did them. Just to use to get input, and just be like, not ask for permission, but just like, hey, this is what I'm doing. What do you think about this? Or certain things, and or there's been things that I have gotten behind on, and he was like, well, why didn't you tell me about this? And I came out and I was like, honestly, I'm so used to doing things on my own and figuring things out on my own. I didn't think about coming to you about it for help. I didn't think about it. It's nothing against you. It's not saying that I don't trust you. I'm not saying that I don't believe in you. It's saying that because in my other videos I said that I am in survival mode because my mother showed me to always take care of myself, take care of my own responsibilities, and not go to somebody for help. And I said that my father, main one, my stepdad, and my uncle, one of my uncles, made it clear to me that they could come and go as they please. They ain't gotta take their kids with them. They can come and go as they please. Come and go, disappear for like 2-3 months, come back like nothing ever happened. Nothing against them. So I've forgiven them, but I'm just saying what it is. I'm saying, like, you showed me that when somebody, you can go, you can leave, and I gotta figure it out on my own. And at some point, I think I'm grateful about that, because I feel like, damn if you do, damn if you don't, because it's like, yes, you're independent on certain things, but then it's like, when you're too independent is an issue. Well, then if I'm dependent on you, it's like, oh, well, you're a gold digger, or you just here for money, you can't do shit on your own. But then it's like, when I'm independent and show you that I can do on my own, and it's like, oh, well, you one of them new women and you don't allow me to be a man. Then if I do, then if I don't, So, that's some things that was on my mind about it. I've been 2 hours, 15 minutes. I guess I had a lot on my mind today. But it's just a lot of stuff I'm just not liking right now. I'm just seeing and thinking and looking about stuff, and I'm just like, child, we all got too much. My thing is, like, when it comes to a problem, are you going to be the problem, or are you going to be the solution? What are we going to do? Are you going to bring the problem to me so we can figure out the solution together, or are you going to be the person that's like standing on, in a boat, drilling holes in it, and then I'm trying to like scoop the water back out into the lake or pond or the ocean, and you're just going to sit there and watch it sink? What are we going to do? So those are things that was on my mind today. I was just like, that's the last video I saw. It's just like sit me. I was like, you know what? I can't do no more. Let me just do a little brain dump on here and just be done with it. Because this video, because it's like over 2 hours long, I don't think I'm going to post this on my TikTok or my Facebook or my is it TikTok? Yes, it's TikTok, Instagram, and what's the face? Facebook. I'm just gonna post on my YouTube page and then just let it be what it is. And I feel pretty good with these videos because I'm releasing. I'm not worried about who's hearing me. I'm not worried about who's seeing this or not. Because I feel like maybe a year later I can just come back. It may be cringing for me, but I'm like, I can see where I was a year ago and where I am in the future, So It's all good. I enjoyed it. If anybody is watching, please don't hesitate to comment or anything, like it, share it, save it, whatever. But yeah, that was my mind. I may be coursing it later on because that was really bothering me today. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks.